everyone, and welcome to the second of my 3 E3 2014 pre-show vlogs. And of course we've already done Microsoft, we hit that on head. Now we're going to head first into their main competitor, of course Sony. So last year Sony had what many may call a historic performance at E3. Although they didn't really have as many or as varied new games as Microsoft did, you know, arguably Microsoft kind of won the game side of things at E3. Man, did they take a knife and stab them right in the stomach. Oh my god, it was brutal what they did last year to Microsoft, and fair play to them, because eventually it made sure that Microsoft just turned their leaf and decided, hey, we're dropping all this DRM stuff, dropping all this bullshit, and we're just gonna compete normally. Which a lot of people obviously were angry about when they didn't do that. But regardless of all that, that's history, that's last year. Let's talk about this year, what's happening, what will Sony bring, what's going to be happening with their company at E3. So let's kick it off by talking about Uncharted, right? This is Sony's marquee franchise. It's the one that they're going to be pushing really hard because, of course, everyone knows it well. It's Naughty Dog. They've done fantastic games in the last 10 years. Their PlayStation 3 lineup is, for the most part, actually for the whole part, just phenomenal, outstanding. You know, you got the trilogy of Uncharted and then you got The Last of Us. So they have a pedigree to hold up, right? And there was that trailer for the new Uncharted game on PS4 earlier last year, I believe. And it was just kind of a voiceover going over a map, and it was very ominous. It wasn't really pointing out any details or anything. But the guy who voiced over that trailer was actually going to be acting in the game. He's no longer involved with the project, named Todd Stashwick, I believe, and he's no longer involved with the project. He is left. Not only that, but the two creative leads on the Uncharted series, you have Amy Hennig, who's the writer, and then you have Justin Richmond, who I think is just director in general. Both of them have left Naughty Dog, they're both gone. And a lot of people thinking, what is going on with Naughty Dog? What's happening here? There's something strange occurring in the company. No one really knows, but it doesn't really spell the greatest news for Uncharted, right? Because we don't know what's going to be happening with it. So I don't know what will be happening at E3. I'm not sure if they will be far along the process to really show anything concrete, like a trailer, a full trailer. But I think they're going to have to try and come out on stage and explain what the hell's going on, because a lot of people are kind of losing faith to a degree and thinking, I'm not sure what's really happening. The good news is that they have brought on Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann, who directed The Last of Us and who are the leads on that, to take on the mantle for the new Uncharted game. Those guys, of course, did work on Uncharted 2, which many believe to be the best in the series, so you know, it's not all lost. I think there could be some real interesting stuff happening with Uncharted. Next up, we're going to talk about Driveclub a little bit, right? Because that was a thing which was supposed to be a PlayStation 4 launch title, got slipped back even further. It was originally supposed to be a PlayStation Plus. The first PlayStation Plus title was going to be Driveclub. Now, that wasn't going to be a full edition of the game. It was going to be like a PlayStation Plus version of it. But it was still like one of these marquee titles. And it didn't really spell the best of timing because Polyphony had Gran Turismo 6, which was coming out near the PS4 launch as well, so maybe that wasn't what they wanted and they didn't want to cannibalize sales of one with the other, and so they pushed it back really a far distance. But they didn't really have anything to compete with Microsoft Forza at the PlayStation 4 launch. Not that that really mattered because there wasn't really anything compelling from either company at the system launch, but you know, Driveclub is interesting because it's just not much has been said about it since like the E3 last year, and no one really knows what's going on with it, so we're going to hear more about that. Am I bothered about it? No, because as I said, I'm not a car guy, so I don't really care. I can take or leave Driveclub, not a big deal. Now, it wouldn't be E3 or a Sony E3 if I didn't address the goddamn mammoth in the room, Last Guardian, right? The follow-up to 2005, that is 2005, Shadow of the Colossus. That's when it came out, guys. This has been so long anticipated. It's been in development hell for an entire generation. For 9 years, this game has been in development, and I have no idea what it's going to turn out like, what they're going to show, if they're going to show anything, will they even mention it? They have been saying the past year that it is still in active development and it's happening, but I don't know. It's such a mystery. It's this enigma wrapped in like a mysterious box that has been locked away in some kind of underground lair at Sony. It's just one of those things that no one really knows what's happening with. but everyone's super stoked to find out, right? Because Shadow of the Colossus is just one of those seminal moments in gaming and is like so well remembered by so many people. And you want to know what those guys are working on. It would be, if we were to make the parallel, it would be like Naughty Dog going silent for the entire PS4 generation, but you know they're working on an Uncharted title, but you don't know what's happening with it. That's what this is like, essentially. These guys have been spending their lives for the last 10 years essentially working on this one game, and it's probably not the same game as it started out like. That footage that came out in 2009, probably not like that, but we'll see. I am hoping they show something, because, man, I really want to see it. If not, I would say Tokyo Game Show is a good shot for that one, definitely. Now again, Sony are going to be pushing the indies hard. I'm not sure what other stuff they'll be showing. Of course, there'll be Order 1886, which has been delayed till 2015, but I'm sure they'll have some kind of footage of that going up. Indies, again, they need to push them, because really, for the rest of this year, they don't have anything. Besides Driveclub, like, that's it, squat. They got nothing to push on PS4 in terms of AAA first-party content. There is, of course, the stuff coming later in the year with the Assassin's Creed, the Call of Duty, the Battlefield, etc. All that nonsense will be happening. But at this point, it really seems like they need to be pushing indies more and more and more, because that's the only stuff that's going to be appearing on their platform in the near future. And maybe we'll get another demo of The Witness from Jonathan Blow. Maybe we'll get some other high-profile indies just being highlighted. You know, it's not a big deal for me, honestly, because on the PC we get most indies first, and that's something that I get much cheaper as well because of Steam sales and everything. But for people who aren't obviously PC players, people who are just on console, the indie revolution is really happening now, and it's great to see, because some of my favorite games of the last 5 years are all indies, and I'm really looking forward to what Sony has to show there. Now, of course, Sony do have a handheld, the Vita, which has seen better days. I'm not sure if it actually has seen better days. I'm not sure what kind of days the Vita has ever seen, but it's there, right? And it does have the kind of remote play stuff going on with PS4. Maybe they'll show a bit more of that stuff. Maybe there will be one kind of AAA pushed game for Vita, but it seems like it's beyond that at this point. At this point, it seems like it's an indie machine, or it's a machine for HD trilogies, or it's a machine for ports of console games. It doesn't seem like there is much money to be made on a AAA title specifically developed for Vita. You know, if anyone was going to do it, it would be Sony internal studios. They're the ones who profit from it the most. Third parties, not a chance at this point. After the debacle that was Borderlands 2 ported onto Vita, and how poorly that run, and how people didn't really seem to like it that much, I don't think it's really gonna happen at this point. Which is a shame, because I love my Vita. I think it's a great system, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to be able to pull anything out. Another big thing that we are looking forward to seeing is more of PlayStation Now and the Gaikai integration. I think that is going into beta on PS4 pretty soon, so people will be kind of giving feedback on that and how that works. But really, this is Sony's solution for backwards compatibility, because you can't go back and get all your old games and put them onto the new system. You can't even do it with your PSN titles, which is somewhat ridiculous at this point. So I'm thinking that there is going to be a lot of focus placed on that. And then they also have their headset, right? Morpheus. What's going on with Morpheus? Are they going to have some kind of big thing, some marquee title, some marquee game on Morpheus? I think it may be a bit too early for that. I think it will get a cursory mention, or some kind of reel being shown about how developers are saying, oh, this is the future, and oh, this is great, against like a white background like Apple do, you know, those reels. But otherwise, yeah, I think that maybe that we'll see some kind of glimpse into the future of Morpheus and what they're going to be doing with that. Now, there is space for Sony to unveil some new IP, some brand new project from one of their internal developers. We know that, I think Shuhei Yoshida said that every single internal Sony first-party studio is working on something for PS4. Now, we did hear recently that Media Molecule are not going to be at E3, which suggests that maybe there'll be a Gamescom showing, although there has been precedent in the past for people saying they're not going to be at E3 and then showing up anyway. David Jaffe, Twisted Metal. But it's a thing that maybe could happen, that maybe they're just deliberately saying we're not going to be there, and then walk out on stage and be like, ah, new Media Molecule thing's happening. I don't know, maybe that could be real cool. But aside from that, it seems like that's most of what is on my head right now for Sony. Maybe I'm missing some stuff. Of course, I mentioned yesterday that probably the Square Enix things like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy can be showing up at the Sony press conference. That's most likely. Probably not Kingdom Hearts. I think Final Fantasy will definitely get a big feature showing, but Kingdom Hearts seems way too far off them to say anything. But definitely, I think that'll happen. And then with third parties will be Assassin's Creed and Destiny probably are the most likely showing there again. But that is pretty much it. So let me know what you think. What are you excited for Sony to show at E3? Let me know in the comments below. Which is your favorite Sony franchise? Which one do you think they're going to do the best with this generation? And leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And we will be back, of course, on Saturday to talk about the final company, of course. People who will be going last in the press conference rota, even though they're not really doing the press conference, Nintendo. So join me on Saturday for the Nintendo breakdown. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. The company.